Thanks for downloading the Swearing In podcast, where you'll hear the origin stories of those who chose to serve. So ground your gear, take a seat, and listen up. The Swearing In podcast starts right now. Hello, America, and welcome to the Swearing In podcast. I am your host, Marty Smith. Today, my guest is retired Air Force Master Sergeant Kevin Dunaway. Kevin grew up in Gonzales, Louisiana, and joined the Air Force in 1990. He went in as a 275XO Tactical Air Control Party Specialist, or the vaunted TACP. We talk about his recruitment, basic training at San Antonio, Texas, and his tech school at Hurlburt Field, Florida. So there's some background on Kevin. Now let's get on with his story. I'm sitting here today with retired Master Sergeant Kevin Dunaway. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Great. Now, Kevin was a TACP in the Air Force.
That is correct.
For, I had it written down, 14 years?
13 years.
13 years.
13 years.
Now, what I could not figure out was, what was your AFSC?
So
it was like a special ops AFSC.
Yeah. So back when we first started, this is before all the transition to the new AFSCs. We were called 275s. I think there were 274s, and like, don't quote me on this, were like combat controllers. 276s were like air traffic controllers, but 275s, the official thing was Tactical Air Command and Control Specialist.
So it wasn't under a special ops AFSC.
Not at the time.
It was under a control kind of piece. Right?
Yes, it was.
Because control was a big umbrella for the Air Force.
It was. And it was under a control.
Drop down out of that.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Kevin, you grew up in Gonzales, Louisiana.
Yes, I did.
Where is Gonzales, Louisiana?
It is like about 30 miles south of Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
30 miles south?
30 miles south.
I mean, if you just think about it, you're like, Baton Rouge, you're in the Gulf if you're 30 miles south.
Well, I mean, of course, another 60 miles you're south, you're in New Orleans or underwater. It all depends on which way you go. But, Gonzales, Louisiana, and diehard Louisiana State University, go Tigers.
Where is Louisiana State?
It's in Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
Baton Rouge, Gonzales, Louisiana was my hometown until I joined the military. You
went to East Ascension High School?
Yes. And had a great time there. It was my junior, senior year was like probably the best time I ever had. I was a huge drama guy. Did really? A lot of plays. I did like, Barnum and Bailey, Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
No kidding.
I was in all these plays and it was so much fun. It really was. And it kept, these plays actually kept us out of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. But plays, you gotta do something like that.
Going to football games. Football's big down in the South.
You can't get away from it.
Can't get away from it. But that's Gonzales, Louisiana. East Ascension High School was probably one of the best years of my life, my junior, senior year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you're about to kick off. You graduate. When did you graduate?
I graduated in 1989.
89. What'd you go do?
Absolutely nothing. Well, no, I didn't. I won't say that. No, I actually worked. I was a mechanic.
Oh, yeah?
We did. And my sister and I, Nicole, she was older. She was a single parent. So I helped Nicole out. And,
that's nice.
Yeah. And, my parents got me and Nicole a house. And actually, it was me, Nicole, and my nephew, Brandon. And I just helped Nicole out with Brandon, went to work as a mechanic. And then finally, I moved on to a video store. Oh my God, video store.
Local video store.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I just said that. Like a video store.
Did you have the adult section with the saloon doors?
There was a little red curtain that you can go back there, but of course you had to be over 18 to go in there.
Right.
But it was fun being there, and
sure.
And finally my father just said, Kevin, you got to move on, man. You can't be a video store clerk for the rest of your life.
Now, your dad was former Army, right?
He was former Army. He was with the 82nd Airborne.
Wow.
Like I said, he joined during the Vietnam era.
Oh, okay.
And,
so he definitely saw his.
I don't think he actually went to Vietnam, but he was trying to do his part.
Sure.
Sure. And just because they didn't send him doesn't mean that he wasn't trying to do what he was.
Yeah,
he was,
absolutely.
He was trying to be a great American.
Right.
But he just turned to me one day and says, do something with your life, join the military. And I took the ASVAB when I was like a junior in high school, junior or senior. I can't remember. I think I was a junior.
Yeah.
And he says, join the military. So guess what I did? I walked into the recruiter's office and Army recruiter's office, and they were like, I think for most people, for most recruiters, having somebody walk into their office and being qualified to join the military is a godsend to them because they have their quotas.
Well, now, wait a second. You were telling me your brother went in as a recruiter, right?
Yeah. Well, that was years later.
He became a recruiter. He said that, right? That off the street people, they can sign very few of them.
Very few. And like I said,
that's interesting. I never would have thought that.
I would never thought that either. I just thought it's like somebody walks in, I want to join the military. Okay, you join up. But
yeah, it would seem like a recruiter. You hear the bell ring and you're like, oh, good, we got one.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's apparently for my brother, he says, no, it's not that simple because you got to go through criminal records.
Oh, yeah.
You got to go through.
I didn't think about that.
There's so many things, urinalysis testing, all that stuff. And it's just like having somebody just to walk in your office and being qualified was literally less than 10%.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
But there's physical limitations and all that other stuff that they have to go through.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Huh. Golly.
So I walked into this Army recruiter's office, talked to them and everything, go home, and I was pretty much set to go into the Army, which I was proud to do. And then my stepmother, which is also my second mother, I like because she was very much a mother to me.
That's good.
And she just said, hey, have you thought about any other services? Why don't you go check out the Air Force and the Marines? And I said, okay, I'll go check them out.
Now, did she do that because she knew something, or was she just wanting you to kind of make sure that you saw everything before you
She wanted to expand my horizons a little bit, saying just don't focus on one thing and just think because for the past for 2 years after graduation, I just literally wasn't doing anything. And she was like, but the thing is that you have a high school diploma, you don't do drugs. You don't do any of this. Just go talk to them,
Sure.
And I walked in that Air Force office and talked to them in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I just literally I think this is what I want to do. I want to go into the Air Force.
Really? Huh.
And I tell you what, son of a bitch, it was like a week later that Army recruiter called up, and my mom answered the phone, Susu, and said, I think he's joining the Air Force. And I hear that Army recruiter on the phone. No. We had, even though that all services have the same exact, benefits and everything. It's like, no, the Army's so much better, blah, blah, blah. And she just said, yeah, just don't call back. I think he's joining the Air Force.
That's awesome.
And she, cause I didn't want to talk to him because she knows at the time I would be probably roped in, just like, okay, I'll join the Army.
Yeah, sure.
But
sure.
Anyway, so yeah. So I ended up joining the Air Force in, God, it was June of 1990.
1990. Oh, that was right before Desert Shield, right?
Yeah, right before Desert Shield.
Well, that was before he invaded, or was it? Did he invade?
No, he hasn't. I don't
think he invaded yet.
I don't know.
Right?
I had to look at the.
It was close. It was
PFE,
somewhere around.
Yeah,
there. But nothing was going on. Nothing that prompted you to go, oh, I got to get in there.
But the Air Force, they were just recruiting people left and right.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were, because I think that there was a ramp up going on.
Oh, of course.
At that particular time.
So. But you went on delayed enlistment, right?
So delayed enlistment from June until January.
Oh my God.
Yes. Well, the thing is, they asked me.
That's a lot of time for you to fuck up before you got enlisted, right?
But the thing is that they didn't have, because they were looking for slots for you to go into certain career fields. It's like, okay, we're overloaded for this particular career field at this particular time.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, so let's delay him like another couple of months or another.
Oh, okay.
So they were really, the Air Force at the time, and this is only my opinion, I don't have solid facts on this, but I believe that they knew what career field that I was going to go into. Yeah. I didn't know, but they knew.
Oh, they did. But I mean, you didn't sign, when you signed that delayed enlistment, it didn't have a job on it, right?
I was open general.
Open dog.
The open
Roll
dog.
The dice, man.
I rolled. Well, young, dumb, and full of cum, man. I just didn't know exactly what I was getting into. It's like, oh, yeah, I want to do air traffic control, but they say, hey, we're going to put you open general. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to give you a list. You can put a list of things that you want on your job and choices and, here, go ahead. Here are the jobs. And of course, there was no internet back in the day.
No.
So here's some papers. You can read over it. And I'm like, I'm 20 years old and I'm going, really? Come on.
Yeah, just
whatever. Okay. First one, air traffic control. Second one, tactical air command and control specialist. Third one, blah, blah, blah.
So was that the choices they gave you? Were they based on your ASVAB score then?
They were based on the ASVAB score, but also based on the availability that they had open.
Fair. But I would assume that's a pretty high ASVAB score to be offered.
Yeah. So air traffic control, I was definitely qualified for.
Nice.
And it's like, okay, yeah, we got your things down. And I truly believe they already knew. The second I put my listing down 1 through 6, the second they saw one of them,
they locked in.
They locked in. It's like, okay, we're going to bring you in January. I was like, okay, so I just felt that, okay, fine, I will go in January. Just don't screw up,
Yeah, right.
And
that's 6 months of, hey, Kevin, come to this party. Oh, shit. I can't.
Yeah. I don't want my dad to know.
I know what you guys are doing at that party. Maybe I shouldn't.
That's exactly what it was.
I don't know if I could have stayed. It seems like something would have run in my head because it's like, hey, you can't do this because you're going into the military. And that makes you want to do it even that much more.
Well, no, I think that was opposite for me. It was honestly, it's like I knew I was going in. And I just didn't want to screw up. I was like,
right.
Because I hold my father in a very high standard. Good. And he looks at me and saying, I just wanted to do him well, that I'm his son. Sure. And I just want to make sure that I don't screw this up.
You can tell. I mean, that you're that way. You've been successful at the military.
Yeah.
Because if you're just like, the old man, he just wants me to do this, I'll do one hitch and get the hell out.
Yeah, that was, I just literally looked at my father. He just said, hey, just go forward with it. Nice. I promise you will do good.
Good. So
January rolls around.
Yes.
You're going to MEPS, right?
Yes.
MEPS in Baton Rouge?
No, actually New Orleans.
MEPS in New Orleans?
Yeah, they put me on a fucking Greyhound bus and shipped me down to New Orleans to go to MEPS. And God, I never rode a Greyhound bus in my life, but, you know, of course, that was the transportation around Louisiana at the time.
2 hours? 3 hours?
It's like an hour.
Oh, okay.
It's like an hour.
Okay.
It's not that far. But, of course, MEPS is on the other side of the Mississippi in South New Orleans. And we're not talking about the best area in the world, but they'd say, just make sure you stay with us. You know, it's like... Okay, I will stay with you. Don't go outside of these perimeters here. You know, we don't know.
On to the belt loop of the guy in front of you.
Basically, yeah. You know, I mean, it was like the elephant walk. You know,
yeah, right.
But yeah, so the elephant walk happened, and going through MEPS, and they look at my dream. Well, not the dream sheet, but the job listing.
Okay.
And like I said, when I get down there, it's like, you know, they put me up at the Ronald McDonald House.
The halfway house?
Is
it like a halfway house?
No, it's like a house.
Oh, I know. Ronald McDonald's where they house the people where the kids are in the hospital. Right?
Yes, that's what they put us up at the Ronald McDonald House. And, you know, I mean, we had free cheeseburgers, so I didn't mind. I was like, okay, cheeseburgers, you know, and I'm going, why there's like all these slides around here? It's like, am I special? You know, I didn't know.
This is at MEPS, right?
Yeah, this is at MEPS.
Huh. So you're at the Ronald McDonald
House.
Are they busing you? Were they flying you out to basic the next day?
No. So we stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, and we went through MEPS, and that's whenever they looked at my career sheet and said, this is what, okay, I see what you have here, so forth. Here's all this, we had to go through urinalysis testing.
Oh yeah.
Did everything that day. And then they moved this out of the Ronald McDonald House to another hotel.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. So it was like an outdoor hotel. And of course, this time when I smoked and everything, and I remember being outside, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I just sitting there smelling. I was like, okay, I know what marijuana smells like. And I smell it. I definitely do smell it. And there's these guys at the corner. They're smoking marijuana. And I'm going, guys, you know, we're leaving tomorrow.
And they're signed up too, right?
They're signed up and everything. I saw them in MEPS and everything. And I'm going, dude, you shouldn't be doing that, you know? And they're like, oh, we already got our urinalysis test and everything. I went, all right, whatever. And the next morning, they wake us up early and says, okay, one more time.
They piss test you again.
Piss test us again. And I was like,
smart.
And there was 4 people that was just gone, just like that.
It's not like they haven't been doing this for 200 plus years. Right?
Yeah.
They know it.
They know. So I was like,
I remember the Army used to piss test you when you got back off of leave.
Yes.
Like the first day.
The first day you would get back.
Damn.
You know, and they called it random my ass. It was not random.
No, this was targeted.
Yeah, this was targeted. Definitely targeted. But we get on that. So those 4 guys were gone. And then we get on a plane and flying off to San Antonio.
Now, you almost missed your flight, right?
I did. I'm sitting there wandering around. And you know what? Don't mean to jump forward. My brother did the same freaking thing.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
You smoking sons of bitches.
We were smoking. And it would come back and it was like, where's everybody at? You know? And it's like, we were out smoking a cigarette. It's like, you got to stay with your crew. And, you know, it's like, oh my God, literally almost missed my flight to go to basic training. And
awesome.
Oh my God. I can just see the fire in my dad's eyes, because my dad smoked at the time too. And whenever he would get mad, he would take a drag of that cigarette and blow it right through his teeth and go,
oh, what an effect.
Yeah. He's like, don't you dare fuck up again, you know? So yeah, that's exactly, you know, so I can just picture my dad doing that. And I was like, I got to get on this plane. I got to get on this plane. But yeah, so we get on the plane and head out to San Antonio.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you swear in Baton Rouge then?
I did swear in Baton Rouge. So the swearing in, I can tell you that at the
all in civilian clothes,
all in civilian clothes, everything,
elbow to elbow.
Yep, we were there, and I can probably honestly say that 95% of us, when we put up our right hand and we actually were doing the swearing in, that. And I'm sure maybe you felt it, and I know people listening maybe felt it as well. But we knew what we were getting into, but we didn't know exactly what we were getting into.
No, of course.
And I just don't think that we took those words of swearing in, I, Kevin Dunaway, so forth. I don't think that we actually took it to heart.
No,
and
nobody does.
Nobody, yeah, because we didn't know,
right?
But later on in the career, when you're doing your re-enlistment and everything, you really
appreciate what you did,
yes,
just mindlessly.
And I just it's like when you put up that right hand and everything, listen to the words. Yeah. It's important to listen to those words because it's going to change your life. It will change your life. I'm not saying brainwashing. It's not. It's going to change your life for the better.
Yeah, I agree. You get to San Antonio, right?
Yep.
What was the, you go through the production line, you get your uniforms, you get all that stuff, right? You get billeted. Was it open bay barracks? I never asked that question for the Air Force. Army's always open bay, right? But I didn't know. Was the Air Force open bay, or did you have rooms?
It was open bay.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of people, even my future son-in-law, Senior Master Sardines. Hello. Yes, the barracks were on stilts.
Because everything was built back then.
It was all on stilts, right. But on the ground floor was the chow hall, was the CQ, was the commander's office and everything. But then the second and third floor were the open bay areas, but there were two huge bays on each. So actually there was four of them. So you walk up the stairs in the middle, and then either you can go to the door to the right or the left. And the second you walk into those doors, there were two huge bays.
Oh, all right.
On both sides. Yeah. And,
each side, if you went to the left or the right, that was a flight, right?
That was a flight. Exactly. Those were flights. And normally your father flight was across the hall from you. You were so they've been in a little longer than you.
A few more weeks in the basic than you.
Yeah. And, we get in there and all we see are these metal cots they're not really cots. They were bunks. But I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Right,
I'm going, okay. And at the very end, there were, bunks, I think the last three rows were bunks. And it's like, there's no way I'm getting on the top bunk. So there's no way. But my dumb ass decided to go ahead and get to the second bunk on the left-hand side, which was the biggest mistake of my life. Because when you're at the very front, you're the first one to get everything.
That's true.
I did not know that. I was like, okay, I'm just going to grab this one. Here we go. Let's go. All right. I get to go to bed. Yeah.
So what was your big welcome to the military story from that drill instructor?
Oh, my God. I wish I could remember his name, but you could tell he was a redhead at one time, but he was bald because he shaved his head, and he was pure red. So he was an Irish guy, big old brolic guy. And they're teaching us hospital corners. And we're like, what the fuck is a hospital corner? Sure. I had no idea. And, they bring somebody out and say, this is how you do the hospital corner. This is the way you're going to make up your bed every day for the remainder of basic training. All right. And they showed us, and I was like, all right, I think I got it. Yeah. And it's like, when you're done with doing your hospital corner, stand at the front of your bunk. So I did my hospital corner, and I was one of the first ones to finish. So when I stand at the front of the bunk, I'm going, yeah, that's
pretty good.
I did good. I just want to get this shit out of the way. And this guy walks up to me and he just, and this was back in the day whenever they can just like poke you with because they had the round hats and they could poke you in the forehead.
There was nothing more frustrating.
It was like, God, stop doing that. But you just,
you gotta take it.
You don't want to look him in the eye. I always looked at him in the chin, chin.
Smart. Yeah.
I looked at the chin and he goes, you think your hospital corners are the best ones in here? You're the first one to finish. And I'm going,
yeah.
Yes, Sergeant. Goes over there and he grabs that corner and it was kind of flimsy.
Oh, no.
And he goes, are you fucking shitting me? And I think he really got this out of Full Metal Jacket. I don't know what he did. But he goes, this looks like my dead grandmother's clit. And he starts wiggling it back and forth. And I'm looking at him going, who says that? Who says that? And he grabs my bunk. And he literally throws it across the bay, and my eyes got so big because I had no idea.
No,
I was like, "Oh my God, what the fuck did I get myself into?" And he looks at me, goes, "Do it again." And I was like, "Sir, my bunk's down there." And he goes, "Well, fucking go get it!"
Wow.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm dragging this bunk across the bay. I put it back and everything, and It was like the biggest eye opening for me. I'm going, I'm not saying I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth by far.
No, but most people don't get yelled at like that.
Don't get yelled at like that. No way. No way. And when he did that, I was like, oh my God. That was like the biggest eye opener for me. It was the first night in basic training. So it let me know that I should be scared, and listen to every word that they say.
When did you know what your job was going to be?
Oh man.
What your AFSC was going to be.
Yeah, it was in basic. They told me I was going to be a 275 XO, which is TACP.
That is a crazy AFSC.
And honestly, I think it was scary at first only because I didn't know what it entailed. It was very vague in the requisition. And, they, nowadays they actually bring you through a vigorous PT test before you actually go there. But at the time you didn't.
Oh yeah. Right.
There was no PT test before.
Which is crazy to think that they just shipped you off.
They just shipped you off.
And they didn't know if you could run from here to there. Yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you could run a mile and a half.
Yeah. It was simple. And like I said, I was this, you can't tell by now, but I was a pretty skinny kid. I was like weighing 160,
at 5'10",
at 5'10",
or 5'11",
5'10" and a half, something like that. But I mean, it's like, and there were a lot of people in my basic class that end up getting this career field, and all of us were asking. Really? Yes, it was me, Randy, Doug, and a few other guys that ended up, going into this career field, which we were asking each other questions all the time. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're like, fuck, I don't know. I mean, what are we doing? And it's like, and then Doug goes, well, it says tactical, which tells me that we're going to be combat. And I was like, okay. I just don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Hard to imagine the days before internet, right?
Yes, because
it's not like you could go down and go, hey, I'll look it up on the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Well, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is that right before we were shipping out and everything, I remember one of the TIs stated, all right, who's doing what? Who's doing this? And Doug goes, yeah, us few we're going to be TACP. And he goes, good luck. Like that.
Nice.
We're like, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. So you graduate and they ship you to your tech school.
At Hurlburt Field, Florida.
Hurlburt
Field, Florida. At Fort Walton Beach.
Oh my God.
Fort Walton Beach. we were myself, Doug, and Randy were the first ones there. We were very, I don't know why. I think that the class wasn't supposed to start to a certain time, but they didn't know what to do with us. So they put us on. As soon as we got there, there was a Master Sergeant Henson, which he really did help us out. I mean, he was an old school. They called us ROMADs.
Romads. What's a
radio operator, maintainer, and driver? That was, but later on, we knew the acronym of ROMAD, but we kind of dismissed the acronym later on.
Sure.
We were just ROMADs. And when we got there, and I don't want to say brainwashing because that's what it wasn't.
That's brainwashing. It's okay.
It may be
it's
a little
not marine
bit
brainwashing, but
we were death from above.
Sure.
The strong shall stand, the weak shall fall by the wayside.
Oh, you had all those standing. Do you have like the posters up on the wall? Do you have the sayings? And
Absolutely.
Stuff like that?
I think, and
That's
then
great.
looking at that patch and everything and seeing
It's a good patch.
the motto.
Yeah.
We literally going, okay, we're going to be something special.
Yeah.
I believe.
Heck yeah.
And so we were there probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks before any other people showed up. And we started understanding what the exact job was. And they were like, just, I want you guys to start PTing even before we start PT.
So finally somebody told you.
Yeah. Henson comes in and says, I want you to start getting up. I know you can, we have the reveille and everything, but I want you to start getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah. And start, we had pull-up bars. We had everything out there. So you start doing everything that you can right now. We're like,
good.
Okay. I could barely do 2 pull-ups. Here I am as a scrawny kid. Can't do 2 pull-ups.
Nobody can because nobody practices.
No, I mean, it's like, my pecs were like, it's like waves, going onto the sand. It was so, it just not, they were not there. And anyway, so me, Doug, and Randy, we got a really tight cohesiveness with each other. And we understood each other. We went through basic together. Now we're in TACP school together.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool bond there.
And
you never knew each other before.
Never.
Before you met
once,
in basic. Right?
Not once.
So I'm going to imagine my wife is sitting here because she'll get mad. She goes, I don't know what that is. I don't know what TACP is.
Okay.
So TACP is essentially you're calling in tactical air support for ground forces.
That is correct.
Right?
So what exactly the acronym TACP stands for is a Tactical Air Control Party.
Okay.
That's the exact nomenclature of it.
And because of the nature of what you're doing, you have to be embedded with the ground troops. So even though you're Air Force, you're stuck doing what they do.
We are with the Army.
Right. And when it comes time, it's like, hey, I need some A-10s to, burp this building over there. That's when they come to you.
So, yes, in essence, yes. But I think it's important people to know that when you go to the school, they want you to understand radio frequencies. They want you to understand all the radios that you go through. Your Humvee is your lifeline.
Sure. Now, your Humvee was a lot different than our Humvees because all we had was just strictly FM.
Yes.
And it was whip antenna stuff, and that was it, right?
Yep.
We had dash-mounted PRC 77s, and maybe you had a 524.
We had the same thing.
But you also had UHF, right?
We had UHF, VHF, HF. We had GPS. This is back in the day of when we're not talking about a GPS on your cell phone.
No, when they had like half the satellites
it was like so big inside. And we had these radio pallets within our weapon system. And I'm using a quote unquote on my fingers. That was our lifeline.
Yeah.
That radio pallet was our weapon system. We started off with Mark 144s and we moved into a new system called the GRC 206. And
these are radios.
These are radio pallets. The entire pallet system that literally is in the back of your Humvee. It is like the biggest rack you've ever seen. I can look at it, I can close my eyes and I can sit there and think the HF radio is in the upper right-hand side. The FM radio is at the bottom right-hand side. We had a PDU, we had UHF, VHF, GPS. We had everything in this pallet. And our primary job at that time was to ensure the ETAC, or they call them now JTAC, that we keep these radio equipment, all the equipment running. That was our job as a beginner, as a TACP person.
So it's interesting for those who've been in the Air Force, we think, oh, TACP, you're like top of the heap. But actually, TACP is your entry level.
It is the entry.
You became an ETAC, which was
later on in my career.
And ETAC was
Enlisted Terminal Attack Controller.
Okay, which changed to JTAC.
Which it changed to JTAC.
But that was a more senior position than the TACP.
And you have to go to school for that. You have to go back to Hurlburt Field, go through schooling to become an ETAC, and go through this. And that's the one thing I loved about the career field, is that we had rigorous training thereafter. But I don't want to skip too far ahead.
No, we'll get to that when you get.
But at this time, they wanted us to get us that entry level to understand radio frequencies.
Yeah.
Actually making our own antennas out of wire.
Oh, yeah. I remember going through that class.
Doing all that stuff.
Sure.
It was great. But then at the same time, we are running our asses off. We are doing push-ups, sit-ups. I mean, anytime we walk through a door with a frame, we had to drop and get 20 push-ups,
Yeah.
And we was like, oh God, I got to go to the bathroom, but I don't feel like walking.
I don't want to do push-ups.
I got to do 40 push-ups in order to go to take a piss.
Right.
So I will rather piss in my pants as doing 40 push-ups. But then as we're doing all this and as we started, this was a very, eye opener for a lot of people. We had a lot of cross trainees. We had Army people.
Did?
Yeah. Bushus was an Army guy, and he cross trained into Air Force, became TACP. God, I got to give accolades to Stamos. God, he was like he still is one of the best guys that I've ever worked with or ever met. But there's a lot of people who were cross trainees that came in, and they were very ensuring that us pipeliners, and of course people out there and understanding what pipeliners are, we are straight out of basic.
Straight out of basic, you're in a tech
straight
school,
to the
no
tech
experience.
school. Yes.
Yeah.
These retrainees were ensuring us pipeliners were staying on track.
That's cool.
And we never left anybody behind,
That's unusual.
But it was a brotherhood.
It could be because of the that AFSC, was so tight. Because you're not producing 1,000 of those guys.
No, you're not. I mean, like I said, we started out with 35. I think we ended up with graduating like 15.
Wow.
13, 15. Excuse me. But not fast forwarding too much, but it was a great brotherhood. And, getting up at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, doing your PT, and oh my God, it all depends on what instructor was running PT.
Oh,
it's like, God, is he going to make us run, this 8 miles or 5 miles, which way? Oh, there's a fork in the road. If he goes to the left, we're screwed. If we go to the right, we're going back home.
Oh, that's not so bad.
But tucking your shirt into your PT shorts because you're not allowed to throw up on the ground. You better throw up in your shirt. Doing those damn crab walks up and down the field. I hated those. And I remember Bushes, he hated those crab walks. Because he was a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was muscular.
I hated the crab walks. I hated the bear walks.
Oh, God.
Because it's stuff you don't normally do, and it just hurts.
But I was a small guy, so that didn't bother me too much.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like I could just knock him out and everything. They're like, and Bush is like, he could run and everything, but he's like, I hate these crab walks.
Oh, I did hate those things.
But anyway, so we looked out really for each other, even though we didn't know each other very well at the beginning, but we became a huge brotherhood during school.
Now you're going... you have a tactical situation where you have air on station, right?
Okay.
So you had to learn to call how many different aircraft. I mean, there's not a lot that's air to ground support, right?
Yes.
Because the Air Force has A-10s,
F-16s.
But that's it?
No. So it wasn't all the time Air Force.
Did you ever have to call in the AC-130?
Yes.
Really?
Well, that didn't happen till a little bit later. Whenever AC-130 gunners.
I wouldn't think they need a lot of orientation, but because they just orbit, right?
Yeah. But it also depends on the threat situation.
Okay.
In a high threat situation, you're not going to bring an AC-130 because you can.
No, because they can get shot down.
They get shot down instantly. know. So for us, we had a particular way of doing things. As a TACP or as an ETAC, going through school, they were saying, you have your contact point, then you have your the contact point is when they call you up and say, I'm on station.
Right.
But of course, they just don't show up there. You have to go through.
No, there's a whole process.
There's a huge process. And then you got to go through your 9 line or your 5 line.
Could you do that? Could you do that today? Do you remember it enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
prove it. Go down through your 9 line. What's your
my
9
God,
line
azimuth L. Oh my God, now you put me on the spot here. As L, target location. God, I can't remember exactly in order.
That's okay.
But the point is that I believe is that depending on the threat situation, whether you do a 9-liner or you do a 5-liner. A 5-liner is like, this is it. Get in here, get out.
Yeah.
9-liner, we have enough time.
Well, part of that, you had to guide them onto the target a little bit, right?
That exactly what.
Especially if you didn't have a smoke marker or anything like that.
That was our job. It's like, especially when it comes to low threat situations, we literally, they would be at probably around 15, 20,000 feet. You could hear them, but you can't see them, but low threat, it always says, it's more like if you had SA-7s or 14s out there, because most of them are visual.
Shoulder man.
Type deal, but of course you got a ZSU-23-4 out there, or you got
those are
SA-23s out there. Yeah. So that's when we get the high threat to where they are really low to the ground and they just pop up at the very last second. And that is so cool. We're actually talking to them saying, okay, if you're in a high threat situation, and we study the map and we say, okay, when you pop up, you're going to see a crossroad. And on that crossroad, on the northeast side, you'll see a building. Yeah, and on the other side of the building is where 4 tanks are sitting.
And they're popping up, and they invert for just a second, right?
Just for a second, and they pop up.
So they're looking at something
upside down. I see the target.
That is crazy.
Rolling out, and they roll out, and he's like, and then we have to give the final 2 words.
That is crazy talented.
Final 2 words is cleared hot.
Oh, nice.
Cleared hot.
Nice.
There's been a lot of times, and I know a lot of my brothers out there in TACP community that they'll pop up, roll out, and we're like, you're kind of pointing at me, abort.
Oh, really?
I've had that happen too many times. And Tommy Ray, I know he's going to be listening to this podcast, and I promise you,
all right,
He was yelling at me, Kevin, tell those fuckers to abort. But we'll get to that story later on. But that's essentially what we do. But in a low threat environment, it was so much easier because you could actually talk to them for a long period of time. And A-10s, their loiter time is
well, and they're never above what, a couple thousand feet?
Well,
right?
no. So when it comes to low threat, they're really up there, but they can stay up there for a long period
How
of
high
time.
can they be to engage with that? What is it, Gal 8? Or
yeah. So, no, well, I won't, I don't remember exactly the altitude that they're at.
But they can't be at 5,000 feet.
No.
Right?
But we've had them come in probably at like 100 feet, and they were literally like 300 meters from us because we like to try to get them as close as we can to us.
Well, don't tell your danger close story because I'm gonna build you up for that.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna build you up for that. Could you tell a difference between the Navy or the Air Force pilots? And because you also called in FA-18s, right?
Oh, 18s, AV-8s, yes.
Could you tell the difference between the Air Force and the Navy pilots?
Absolutely.
How so?
To me, it seemed like, and I'm not, this is not by far dogging down on the 18s by far, or the pilots, but the A-10 pilots, they knew how to talk to us. Okay. They knew what they're looking for. And not to mention is that they're not coming in as near as fast as the 16.
They got a little bit more time to identify it. Yeah.
16 guys in the cockpit, when you get an experienced one, they know what they're doing. They know how to talk to us and everything. Now, outside the cockpit, sometimes they can be assholes, but but for the most part, I think we got along with most of the pilots. But 18s, it's just like, I just don't think they had enough. The pilots had enough experience in dealing with ground guys to understand how we do business, know, because when they come on the range, and they'll tell you, any of my TACP buddies out there will tell you, once they get on that range or wherever they are, I don't care if that's a general up there. I'm in charge.
Okay. Well, that's the way the system's set up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, some might not be able to accept that.
Some of them did not accept that. I will grant you that, but we will get to that story later on. But yeah, so in essence, and to rewind a little bit, as TACP school went on, all they're trying to do is get you to understand the concept of what we do, at the same time learning all your equipment, right? Getting you ready, because you're literally in the Army. You just have an Air Force badge on.
Well, I see a very similar experience in the sense that when I was artillery and I was a forward observer, there's that whole process of target ID, right? And then shifting on or shifting off or whatever you have to do to guide somebody to that target. Now, you had a different experience in the sense that you're guiding somebody onto that target.
Yes.
We're throwing around out there and going, oh, that's not where I thought it was. Let me adjust onto that thing.
Well, that's the great thing is, like, when we come to a high threat situation, when we talked about earlier, is that, we talked with you guys to bring in artillery to suppress anything that's out there.
I understand. Yeah. Makes sense.
And timing
right.
needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not just calling in an airstrike. It's like, it's the coordination, the timing. It's everything needs to be perfect.
We used to shoot SEAD missions. SEAD.
Yes.
That was our
suppression of enemy
missions.
air defense.
Correct. And then there was multiple targets. They all kind of had to impact at the same time from different locations from the shooting batteries. Yep. So all that data was different. And ideally you want those to impact. And I think it was within 30 seconds, air would come in. And I was like, wow, that's a hell of an operation.
And I'm telling you, it's time hacks and everything, It's like, I want you on target in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Ready, hack.
Okay. Do they really say tally ho when they're on the way in? Or is that a movie thing?
Well, so there are certain things out there. Tally-ho, tally.
Yeah.
Tally-ho is like, I don't think I heard that very much.
It's got to be movie, right?
Well, no, it actually means something. And like I said, it's been a long time. Tally means I see the target.
Oh, okay.
Tally.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Oh, he's just insulting you on the ground.
Well, no, tally-ho is just like saying, like, I'm going in,
right.
so to speak. But you never really hear them say that.
That's too bad.
It's like, they do, like I said, they do say tally, and that lets us know that he does see the target.
Now, bingo fuel's a real call, right?
Absolutely. I'm bingo.
That's like I'm.
And there's one where bingo means basically that I have enough gas to get back to where I need to go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the other one. And I'm sure my brethrens are going to say, I cannot believe you don't remember that.
They're probably screaming at us.
Screaming
okay,
at you.
I'm going to ask you a couple. So what's the pilot say when he's out of munitions?
Well, he says, "Oh God,
this is all quizzing you because your buddies are going to go.
He's going to say, Dunaway, damn you."
I don't know. I can't even make one up.
You know what? It's gonna come to me. Like I said, I haven't called an airstrike in a long time.
You're gonna have to pay the price.
All right, I will. Sorry, Ted Nugent out there, and Ted is actually an actual guy out there in the career field. He will probably kick my ass later on. But
so you finished all that, right?
Yes.
Your first assignment,
Germany.
It's awesome.
And
you got to be excited about it.
Right? I was extremely excited, and I was even more excited because I mentioned this before. Me, Randy, and Doug went through basic,
That's really
TACP,
cool,
and we get stationed at the same exact
that is awesome.
place in Germany. And it was a little place outside of Frankfurt called Rodelheim with the 4th Air Support Operations Center, which it was kind of a sucky first assignment for a TACP because we're at corps level. And for people out there and understanding that we are in the rear with the gear.
Yeah, you're really high up there.
We were really high up there. And
so you really wouldn't get employed realistically.
Correct.
Unless we had a big theater like level 1.
Exactly. But the thing is that our job was to ensure the forward guys gets the air support they require.
Oh, okay.
So they will go through us for us.
So you're back more on scheduling, allocation of assets.
Yes, exactly. And that was kind of a sucky first assignment.
Yeah.
But you do learn a lot from being at the upper echelon of things. You do see the overall picture. But it was really being with those guys was great. I really did enjoy it.
Cold man.
I am.
I'd like to thank Kevin for joining us today for some history and some laughs. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please leave a like and/or a comment. And make sure to download the next episode where you'll hear part 2 of Master Sergeant Dunaway's story. So until next time, crew, attention, it moves.